Hi everyone, good morning and good evening, good afternoon. Happy New Year to you and your family. From Yamato, this is Akira. So we're talking about in this special workshop what we're doing today. We're talking about the hottest Chinese noodles. That's been going on. Been training for the past like probably a few years. You've been getting a lot of requests for this type of Chinese noodles. Like we're talking about Biangbiang noodles, and so we are making Biangbiang noodles today, right, on Richmen Gold 2 machine, and then another thing that I have, well, I think we announced like well, not email that we sent out is that like we're gonna well, we have been like running some special campaign, on Richmond Go 2 and then other types of Richmond machines, um, you know, so this month, and then so we have a secret code that you can, use to unlock the, well, some special deals, right, for, people who have, well, who purchased the, our Richmond machines, by the end of this month, right? So please stay tuned to the end, when, I announced that this secret code, right, for those of you who are interested in getting the Richmond machines, right, this month. So until so what we're gonna do today, right, is like so I'm gonna talk about bianbian noodles and what they are for those of you who don't know what bianbian noodles are, right? And then I'm gonna talk about how we can make bianbian noodles right from scratch. You guys can make them. Yeah, definitely make them like by watching this special workshop, right? So and then maybe he's gonna make Bianbian noodles, right, on Richmen Gold 2, right? So you know exactly how we can make them, right? And then we're gonna go to our kitchen where Mr. Song, our instructor, is going to show us how well basically two types of Bianbian noodle dishes that you can start making and then start serving in your business from next week. So all right, let's get into some slides that I created, right? And then, let me talk about Bianbian noodles, what they are, and then how exactly how we can make them right from scratch. So, okay, so we're making Bianbian noodles. Like this is the hottest, yeah, Chinese noodles. A lot of people asking us, how to make them. So, yeah, so in this workshop, I was showing you guys, sharing our expertise on Bianbian noodles, right? But like, there are many types of Chinese noodles that are like very popular across the world, right? So we've done like Hong Kong wonton egg noodles, right? And then Lanzhou ramen, which is actually the oldest, you know, ramen noodles, right? Ramen dishes, like probably, in the world, coming from China, maybe, hundreds of years ago, right? And then, famous chow mein, right? That we actually done like in previous workshops as well. So today we are doing like bianbian noodle, right? Bianbian mian. These are basically noodles that are made by hand, right? Made by hand, like hand pulling and stuff. So when we make noodles by hand, right, they need to be soft, right? They need to be soft. So in this chart that we've been using like a lot, like to describe different types of noodles, right? Hydration ratio and the protein content. To make noodles, high the protein, the harder the noodle texture. Then the noodle sizes, different noodle size, like thin and thicker, right? So, but all these like Chinese noodles, including Bianbian noodles, that are made by hand, they are like somewhere around here in the kind of red, kind of orange area that is showing in this chart. So they need to be high in hydration, right? And then low in protein content flour that we use to make these noodles. And then the noodle size wise, right? I mean, they're thicker, right? They tend to be thick. And then, I'm just gonna dive right into the ingredients and the actual exact recipe of bianbian noodles. So please check this, then take a note, right? So, basically wheat flour, right? Wheat flour we use is kind of, well, not too high, not too low, in protein content, right? So it's kind of somewhere in between, the cake flour and then bread flour. So 8 to 9%, kind of in the middle, right? Probably kind of flour that we use for, udon noodles, right? Probably in Japan, right? But it kind of depends on the final noodle texture you want to make, right? The water hydration that we just talked about, hydration, it's considered to be high hydration noodles. So basically water maybe hydration maybe 40 to 50 some percent, right? 53, 55, depending on like what kind of noodles you're making or what kind of noodle texture you are pursuing, right? And then so but we'll do like maybe up to 50, 45% on Richmond Gold 2 machine. But it kind of depends on the flour we use too. So inside this water, right, we have salt, just 1% to the weight of flour. So if we are doing 10 kilo, right, we're adding like just 100 grams of salt in the water to do it. So wanna talk about ingredients, right? Ingredients for kind of more detail, right? Wheat flour. So protein content, as I said, that's hardness, right? Higher the protein content, the harder the noodle texture. So for Biangbiang noodles, I think we want to use flour with a protein content of like 8 to 10%. And then ash content, right? So ash is that basically like how much mineral that like the flour contains, and then that has to do with the color of the texture of the noodles. Vietnamese noodles like kind of are associated with like kind of white color, so like you may want to use that like flour with a low ash content. And viscosity, right? Viscosity is like basically how elastic noodles become, right? And then it's measured in like this unit measurement called like BU, Burbank unit, and then yeah, so this value is not shown on the product label, so you have to measure it with the using kind of special device, right? Then we do have this actual device to measure this value, right? So if you have a flour you want to use for Biangbiang noodles, please, you can send it to us and we can, um, give you the result back. And then that's we can do it for free of charge, right? So let us know if you have some flour you want to test. And then when making noodle recipes, right? These are the 5 variables that we want to consider. And then so what about the protein content, right? Protein content again, like harder the protein, the hard I mean high the protein content, harder noodle texture. Then viscosity that that we just talked about, right? So it's in the starch, and then higher the viscosity, basically better the noodle texture. So Vietnamese noodles being like kind of wider and the wider, so we want to have a high viscosity value for the flour we use, right, for Vietnamese noodles. So hydration ratio, it's high, right? So higher the hydration is softer. And then the noodle size, thickness by times width, right? So Vietnamese noodles is pretty wide, so more bite, right? And then whether you wanna serve them cold or hot, right? Well, it's very important because if you serve them hot or warm, and then the noodles gonna be softer. But if you're serving them cold, right? I mean, chilling them, like then they're gonna be harder. So like that's what we want to think about when making your the recipe, right? So the hydration again, like higher, it's a different condition. But Vietnamese noodles like high hydration, right? So yeah, basically the noodle dough would be like bigger, and then water. When you think about water, want to think about soft water to use, right? Um, Especially when we're cooking like Vietnamese noodles, like very thick noodles, so like takes time to cook. Um, so if you cook them in hot water, right, it's gonna take a longer time to cook because there are a lot of like minerals, magnesium and calcium in the water. So the salt, right, in the Biangbiang noodle, like it needs to be come out like into the cooking water. Then Vietnamese noodles absorb water, right, cooking water to be cooked, right. But like there's less room for these guys to get out, right? So it takes longer time to cook, and then that's gonna affect the noodle texture in a adversely. So like we want to use soft water. And then salt, right? So salt, like what it does is it tightens the gluten and then make noodle dough more firm, and then keeps bacteria from growing, and they keep dough longer, from getting spoiled, right? And then it slows down the activities of enzyme, the, the wheat, right? And they stabilize the dough against temperature fluctuations. They keep dough from like breaking when dried, and then finally, I know that's the salty taste to noodles, right? Most of the salt dissolved in the water, so like you don't taste much of salt, but its functionality is like pretty immense, right? So and then well, we may use this kind of like tool, right, to get that density of the salt, uh, yeah, for like a precision, right? And then getting into the production processes, right? Production process of like Biangbiang noodles. So first of all, like we have to weigh ingredients, right? And then ratio, like so we talked about the ratio and the ingredients, right? So this is the most important process in the whole the processes, among the all the processes of the production of Biangbiang noodles, because if you screw up some like ratio, right? For example, like hydration ratio, like that's 43%, but like if you make a mistake and then end up like measuring it as to 42% or so, like 1% difference, but that's gonna make a big difference in noodle texture. So we want to be precise, so we go by weight, right, not by volume. Then this all these processes make the dough, right, build the dough. So this is very important, makes foundation of the Biangbiang noodles, so very important processes. And then, so mixing process, right? So what we want to do is like, good hydration of the dough, right? So what's happening in there, like agitation, granulation, and then so each particle with the flour, come together, right? As the flour gets agitated with the salt water, and then the flour particles becomes like bigger and bigger naturally as you guys like comes together, right? So this is like what we want to happen in the mixing process, and then after that we rest the dough usually, and then higher the dough, I mean hydration, like the more important this resting process is, right? To promote hydration, right? And then we want or get degas the dough, meaning like there are a lot of air pockets in the dough inside dough, right? And then they later, like when we have these air pockets and we cook the noodles, right? And then they burst, and then that's not gonna good. That's not good for a noodle texture. And then it promotes like better wheat flavor. We get more wheat flavor by resting the dough. And then it relaxes the internal stress of the dough, so it releases the stress in the dough. So that's very good. And then ready for the next process. And then resting process, like well, has correlation between the temperature and then time we rest the dough. So yeah, so the time and then the temperature is important, but basically the higher temperature, the shorter the resting time. So this is how we form the dough, and then work the dough to get that kind of texture we want in our Biangbiang noodle, right? And then so first, like we make the rough, turn this rough the crumbled dough into like a rough form of rough sheet of dough, right? And then that's still fragile, so we want to separate them and then into two, right? And then two sheets of dough, and then we combine them through a roller to make them stronger, right? So this is a combining process we call them, and then this is the key in to making great noodle texture in our Biangbiang noodles. And then after that, right, you just thin it, cut it, and then portion it, and then we rest it, and then we cook them. Like for Biangbiang noodles, like we may not probably rest them because Biangbiang noodle we don't have any like kind of preservative functions of like ingredients like currency, right? So for Biangbiang noodles, like we just consume them like after we cut them into noodles. We should consume them like as soon as possible. So we're not gonna. We'll probably skip the third resting process. and go right into cooking. So hydration ratio, um, yeah, has a like kind of correlation between like well the higher hydration, like we should use the smaller rollers because like they're softer, and then you know Richmond Gold 2 machine has well this bigger roller, but like rollers, right? And then they're designed for harder dough, right? But Vietnamese noodles like being like kind of 45% range hydration, so we could still do the these noodles in the Richmond Gold 2 machine. And then so after that, right, just gonna thin it to the final thickness, cut it. And then we use this kind of cutter, and then width is like 30 millimeter, or even wider, and the thickness is 1.8 millimeter, right, for our recipe. And then, so there are many types of like many different sizes of cutter shapes, right? And then, we do have, yeah, there's, we can have like this 30 millimeter width cutter, but we don't have it at the moment, right? So what we do is that like we're gonna thin it to the final thickness, and we're gonna cut it manually. So we're gonna show you guys how we do it later. But anyway, so cooking noodles, right, is also very important, like in terms of like getting the right noodle texture, great noodle texture, Biangbiang noodles, because yeah, cooking is very important. We're gonna show you guys later about like how we cook Biangbiang noodles, but we want to have like a very strong noodle cooker, right? High temperature, and then there are certain functionalities, but like so we need to like gelatinize noodles, right? Otherwise, like the noodles are raw, so gelatinization needs to happen, and then gelatinization is pretty much that like starting noodles, take them liquid and swell, right? And then upon heating, and then become like kind of clear gel-like texture. Um, for that to happen, right, we have to have boiling water, 98 degrees or so, like above. So it's important to have a proper noodle cooker. So getting the right noodle texture, right? So like noodles, when we cook noodles, noodles cook cooking water like penetrate the noodle, right, from the sides where the noodles are cut, right, and they cut surface, right, and then they're cooked, right, to the point where there's a like the small kind of core, right, that's still not cooked, and then so that's kind of al dente kind of texture, and then over time the noodles like kind of keeps absorbing the soup, right, and then it gets soggy, right, there's no um, raw part at all, and then that's how like no they lose texture, and then that's not good, right? So we want a time, right, when serving the customer, we want to kind of estimate like how long it's going to take like for customer to experience the bite into the noodles, and then so we want to estimate it, and then like we want to cook, kind of stop cooking maybe the point where that's perfect timing for Biangbiang noodles, because the width, right, is 30 millimeter, and the thickness is 1.8 millimeter, relatively thin, but like it's a very wide noodle, so it takes longer time to cook. Yeah, so we estimate like probably this one to be cooked in 5 minutes. So yeah, that's what Biangbiang noodles are, and then yeah, so we're gonna make Biangbiang noodles in the Richmen Gold 2 machine. But before we start, making ramen noodles and Richmen Gold 2 machine, like allow me to like spend just a few minutes talking about it, and then because Richmen Gold 2 has been like very popular for those who have like multiple locations of ramen shops, Chinese noodle shops, and then micro noodle factory business, right? So why there are three vital strengths that like it makes it like very suitable and then popular for all these businesses, right? So one is ease of use, and then second one like versatility, right? And then third one is it has built-in like noodle making techniques, technology that makes very easy for to use, right? Uh, so we have 25 kilogram silky mixer, right? It can mix up like 25 kilogram solid ingredients, right? Then it's usually often used with in combination with the Richmen Gold 2 machine. So we designed these machines, right? Pretty low, right? The height of them, like their heights are pretty low. Um, compared to like conventional machines. So the height where the super mixer takes the flour ingredients, that's 34, only like 86 centimeters high, right? And then Richmen Gold 2 is like only 87.5 centimeters high. So, it's a lot of heavy lifting you have to do. Like, you are lifting like 25 kilograms of flour bag, right? If the, conventional mixer, like if it maybe like, 1.2 meter or something. So it's going to be like a lot more work. It's a lot more heavy lifting that you have to do, right? And that's every day and every single batch that you have to do, right? So this low height, makes it very easy for your workers to work with and yeah, noodle production every day. And then has this like function that like, well, automatic feeder and conventional noodle machines, like you have to feed the dough into the rollers like by hand, right? But with the Richmen Gold 2 machine, once you place a dough on the conveyor, it does the rest of the process, for you automatically, thanks to like all these like sensors, right? Um, and then so it knows like how much the dough is going in, right, being fed at the time, right? So it knows like how fast that it needs to feed the dough or how slow, so it regulates all the conveyor speed. And then it also has like all these sensors, right? Sensors that like detect any object like that or coming through this area of the entrance. So it's very safe. It has this like probably one of the most sophisticated safety features installed in the commercial noodle machines. So the ease of use, right? So conventional noodle machines, they are set at like kind of low point, where you catch noodles, right? And the noodles that are coming out of the noodle machines. But with the Richmen Gold 2, it's set at like a relatively high point, 55 centimeters high from ground, right? So you can pretty much like put regular folding chair in front of it, and then you can sit on it, and then catch noodles, comfortably. So it's easy on your back, right? It's easy, like workers' back. So your workers would appreciate that. And then lastly, right? So in the touch panel, you can control pretty much everything, right? So set the roller gap, set the roller speed. You can see everything that's going on during the machine during operation. Um, and then when there's a trouble, machine trouble, right? And then you can even diagnose, what the troubles are on the, this touch panel. So it makes it very easy to use. And so versatility, right? Versatility, it's very flexible. The Richmen Gold 2 machine is like, different sizes, shapes, right? And then I think most of all, the hydration range that Richmen Gold 2 is capable of covering is, makes it, that flexible in terms of like, types of noodles it's capable of making. Conventional pasta machines, they are just capable of making noodles that are pasta noodles that are like 32% and 36% in hydration. So it's very narrow range that you can cover. But Richmen Gold 2 is capable of making noodles that are like 25% and up to like 45% in hydration, right? So it's capable of making like such noodles as like, well, Hakata tonkotsu noodles, which is actually the most popular type of ramen in the world. And then to conventional pasta, fresh pasta, totally short ramen like miso ramen, right? And then to udon tsukemen, and then the bianbiang noodles that we are talking about, right? So it's very versatile. Then, as you can see in these pictures, right, the different types of, hydration, right, low to high. I mean, the size of the noodle, those are very different, but Richmen Gold 2 is capable of handling like all of them, right? with ease. And then, as you can see in this picture, like, different flavors, different colors, right, of the dough are very easy to make with the Richmond Gold 2 machine. So yeah, it's very versatile. So finally, right, so built-in noodle making and design techniques that Richmond Gold 2 has, right, makes it like very easy for, anyone to work with the, Richmond Gold 2 machine. And then, um, so walk the dough properly, right? Regulating roller speed and then optimize gluten development without damaging it, right? So it has all these features that make Richmond Gold very easy to work with. And then so if you're a business owner, like running a restaurant, and then so you hire a guy like yesterday, right? And then you can just like put this guy on this Richmond Gold 2, and then start making well start making noodles, right? And then you can expect him to be able to like make the noodles that are like as good as professional noodle maker with a over 10 years of experience, right, are capable of making. So but without any without getting any injury, right? So it's a both safety and the convenience, right, which we're going to have. So that's why it's very popular among all these businesses, and then for micro noodle factory business. So speaking of Richmond Gold too, right? For those of you who are watching from the United States, you can actually go to our showroom in Houston, Texas, to experience Richmond Gold 2 and then Richmond Gold 1 machine, right? And then we happen to be offering this special workshop next week on 27th and 28th, right? At this our workshop. And then so we're gonna be sharing like our noodle making techniques, and then how you can start making like such noodles, like Biangbiang noodles from scratch, and then some other types of noodles as well. And then the best of all, like you can actually taste, right, these noodles like freshly made on Richmond Gold 2 machines. So it's great that like you can watch and then learn about all these knowledge and the Biangbiang noodles and stuff like that online, right? But there's nothing better than actually going to the physical location and then get actual experience, like trying and eating all these noodles, right? So it's just a 60 US dollars like per attendee. So it's like for the what we're providing in this workshop, it's a steal. So also you can definitely go to our showroom for private demo, like by getting an appointment. And then private demo, like if you are more serious about starting your own noodle production, right? You can bring your own flour, you'll bring your own ingredients to try out, and then test your ingredients, and then to make your own noodles, right? So all kinds of things are possible, like in the private demo. So if you're interested in it, please go to our website yamatanoodle.com, and then sign up with seat. We have a page set up for you, right? And then yeah, we only have like very few seats available still left. So then for those people watching from Europe, Amsterdam, Netherlands, we have a showroom, right? So same thing. Then next week we have a workshop happening, right? 27th of February, and only like 50 euros per attendee. So like that's a steal. So and then of course, yeah, I'm speaking out of Yamato HQ Kagawa in Japan, right? So if you can come right here in HQ, we can definitely set up a private demo for you, and then we can walk with you, like they talk about all these exciting projects that you're having, right? For with the noodles. So please feel free to check out our yamatanoodle.com website, and then check out our HQ where we are as well. So so let's start making Biangbiang noodles, right, on our Richmond Gold 2 machine. And then yeah, so Richmond Gold 2, right, this machine again, like as you can see, like it's very low, right? The height is very low, so like you don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting, right? So sorry, but like we skipped the mixing part to save you some time, like because you know we're gonna be doing like something in kitchen as well later. So you know we just wanted to, but like yeah, we have other videos that you know that show like how the 25 kilo silky mixer works. So we check out other videos, right? And then so you know this is a 43% hydration ratio dough, and then so that's pretty big, like in terms of like noodle size. I mean the dough size. So to process this kind of dough, right? You know it's very difficult, like in the conversion machine, where this kind of safety gate, right, is you know well closed. It has to be closed, right, because it's safety gate, so that like you know your hand is not gonna be part of Biangbiang noodle, right? And then so you know you can have it open, and then you know and then at the same time, because of the thanks to the sensors and everything, right, you know we can um, have this kind of pretty big entrance space, right, to you know to process this dough, right, you know with a complete safety. So so this machine, right, offers both you know convenience and you know and the safety, right. So it has this like very so it's invisible, right? Invisible sensors are running right now, like in the space. So if you place a hand or something, like you know, it's gonna stop, right? I see, like it stopped. So there's a sensor that's running, invisible sensor. So it's very safe, and then at the same time, they're very practical, convenient to make process this kind of like you know big chunk, big size dough, because you know we can have the safety gate open, right? Yeah, but if you have you know safety gate, like if you have a conventional machine, like you need to have like safety gate like closed for the safety, right? It would be like very difficult to you know process, because you know that this very small gap, you know it has to go through, right? The dough has to go through to be fed to the roller, so it would be like pretty cumbersome. And then so we've done like just well process we call rough forming, right? So what we did is like you know we made that just rough sheet of dough that's still pretty fragile, right? Pretty weak. So we want to make them, we want to make it like firm, right? We want to make it strong, and then at the same time we want to develop like a gluten, right? We want to develop a gluten structure inside the dough. So to do that, right, we will separate it and then you know combine them right through the rollers. And then to combine process, right, we need to adjust the roller gap, but like, you know, there's a button that says like combining process, right? So you just push this button once, and then you know, Richmen Gold 1, I mean Richmen Gold 2, like just adjust the roller gap, you know, automatically, right? You know, you don't have to like in a conventional machine, you know, you'd have like a manually, you know, set the roller gap. So you know you have to know, you know, okay, what the roll appropriate roller gap would be like in the next round, right? So it's kind of like I don't know calculations that you have to do in your head, like you know, to figure out like what the roller gap would be, right? But this Richmen Gold 2 machine, right? You can just you know just have to remember that you need to push this button to get that roller gap to the appropriate thickness. So that's why I'm saying like you know you can put yeah a guy we hired like yesterday on this machine, right, and they expect him to be able to like make you know um, the noodles that are like you know as good as yeah the professional noodle maker you hired like for you know 10 years are capable of making, right? So and then so the dough that's coming out like you know it's getting smoother, right, than before, and it's getting you know stronger. So we like to do this combining process a couple times, because we don't have any like no, because this is a very simple dough, right? Very simple ingredients. So like wheat flour, just one type, and then you know water, and then you know salt, right? But not a lot of salt, like just 1% salt. So it's very simple. So we kind of want to you know create this new very great noodle texture by combining process. So combining process basically work the dough. So basically almost like a same sort of thing that like well um, kind of us like being human, right? And then we are like developing a muscle right by walking out. It's kind of similar to that, right? And this combined process. So walking the dough, kind of building muscle, and then yeah, making them stronger, right? The more muscle we have, then the better the noodle texture. So this is the process of kind of walking the dough. So normally, when we are making like ramen noodles, like standard ramen noodles, right? Normally we do this combined process like this only twice, right? Two times, but for Biangbiang noodles, right? To get that kind of unique noodle texture, we want to do this process three times. One more time. And then every round of like combining, right? Like so, maybe like just pushing this like button that says like combining, right? So you just Richmen Gold like just adjust that roller gap right appropriately, you know. So you don't have to remember any kind of formula or like you don't have to calculate it, the roller gap. Yeah, so yeah, those getting very smooth. So we are done with the combining process, right? And then so from this point on, all we have to do is just thin it, right? Thin it to final thickness. Then from now, like we just want to start dusting, right? Want to start dusting because the well, basically ramen noodles are high in hydration, like very wet noodles, so they they stick together. So like we want to dust them well. So Richmen Gold has like this automatic duster that that's in sync with the operation of the machine, right? So and then you can control the amount of dusting, right? So higher the hydration, the more you want to dust. So all we have to do is thinning, right? And then but we want to like gradually thin the noodles, right? So Richmen Gold has this button that says like thinning, right? So you just need to push this button to automatically adjust the roller gap to appropriate roller gap, and then so you know it's not gonna be like you don't know what the roller gap is going to be, appropriate roller gap is going to be, and then you may end up like damaging the dough or like not really thinning the dough, right? So you just have to push the button, right? So it's very easy. Like you just have to remember to push the button. Yeah, so we're going faster, right? So after, yeah, after combined process, like we can go faster, we go faster, and then you know, yeah. So flour that we use, right? This dough is actually um, the flour used for udon noodles in Japan, right? But I think you may be able to like try probably like some flour called like all purpose maybe in your country if you don't have flour, for udon noodles. And then yeah, want to check the actual thickness. So that's 2.1 after it's gone through 1.8 millimeter. So it's bounced back by 0.3 millimeter, right? So actually, I think it's always bigger than the roller gap reset, right? Because the dough bounces back, right? So yeah, and then at this point, right, we're supposed to be cutting the dough using the our cutter, splitter cutter, but we don't have, as I said, like we don't have the splitter cutter number one, which is like 3 centimeters wide. So what we do is that like we want to just thin it right to the final thickness, and then we're gonna manually cut it, right? Manually cut it. So so it's supposed to be 1.588 millimeter in thickness now, and then the to make the final width, right? You know, we're supposed to use the number one cutter or like even wider cutter, but we don't have it, so like we're just going to use the cutter, right? So we normally use this kind of cutter, right? And then it's number six, 5 millimeter, but like we don't have that cutter, so we're gonna manually cut it now, and yeah, so we'll show you how to. But so normally we have kind of a tool that we can use to kind of effectively and efficiently make this multiple sheets of dough, right? But uh, this workshop, we're just like doing it, kind of manually to show like anybody can do it like this way, even though it's just a little bit cumbersome. Right? So um, Biangbiang noodles, right, are usually very long noodle. It's pretty long, and then Chinese people and then maybe like we Japanese also like kind of like long noodles because long noodles are kind of associated with the longevity of um, right? So it's kind of like a kind of fortune, um, you know, kind of thing that like we kind of worship and follow, right? So yeah, so we tend to make noodles longer, um, to kind of signify the like a longevity. So it's a I think yeah Chinese New Year's is just over, right? So I think this noodles may be a perfect noodles to serve your customers with um, around this time of year. So um, so 3 centimeters wide, right? 3 centimeters wide. So um, yeah, well, we can use a ruler maybe if we have one now, but to make it precise. But yeah, you can definitely use a ruler, right? But see, like it's very long, and yeah, so one cut makes about I don't know how many servings, but like probably 1 or 2 strands of them, would be enough for one serving, right? Because they're long and they're wide, right? So we may want to, yeah, weigh just one strand of noodles to see, how much it weighs, right? Then we can figure out, yeah, the serving size and you can definitely like make gyoza skin, wonton skin, and then like yeah, even like a ravioli, filled pasta skin, right? This way. So it's very easy to do. Yeah, so I'm not sure like how many servings we got, but that's a lot of Biangbiang noodles. So yeah, Biangbiang noodles are again like long, right? So we should keep this length, and then yeah, yeah, just cook them, and then serve them with customers, right? So what bringing them to our kitchen, and then we'd like to show you guys how we can cook these noodles, right? And then how we can serve, put them together in a dish, and then serve them to your customers. So yeah. Okay, so let's go to our kitchen, right? Where um, we conduct our ramen school, udon school, and soba school. So yeah, this is our kitchen, right? So we have like all this equipment to make a variety of bowls, ramen, udon, soba, from scratch, right? So we can take up to the 8 people on this kitchen, right? It's very intensive, course that we have here in Kagawa and in Tokyo. So Mr. Sang, right, our instructor, is generous enough to show us how we can make ramen noodle dishes. So thank you, Mr. Sang. Okay. So we're gonna make 2 dishes, right, of ramen noodles.
はい、基本の、中国式のビャンビャン麺と、ちょっと変わったの麻婆豆腐のビャンビャン麺です。
Yeah, so one is very basic style biangbiang noodles, right? And that you can start doing from next week. And then another one is like very different new version of biangbiang noodles.
はい、先麺茹でていきます。
Okay, so we're gonna cook them first. So make sure you have boiling water, right? You know, they're boiling. So we'll start cooking them. And then, you know, what we want to do is that like we want to stir the noodles until they, you know, start like submerging. And then, you know, we want to let the biangbiang noodles like start swimming, kind of swimming around like in the cooker. Then, yeah, let's start the timer for 5 minutes, right?
はい、茹でたの間にちょっと麻婆豆腐の準備をしていきます。
So while we are cooking the noodles, right? You know, I want to prepare the mapo tofu version of biangbiang noodles.
今回はきめ白豆腐を使います。柔
Yeah.
らかい。
So different types of tofu, but like this time, I want to use the soft tofu.
まあ、木綿豆腐ときめ白豆腐あるんですけど、まあ、どっちでもいいです。どちらでもいいですけど、これの方が滑らかの食感ができます。
Yeah, so you know there are two types of tofu, right? Hard and soft, right? But I want to use the soft tofu. You can use it like you know either one, right? But like I want to use this soft tofu because I want to you know have this kind of very smooth texture, the tofu.
ちょっとちっちゃめに振ります。
And then I want to cut it kind of into like kind of smaller cubes, right?
ちっちゃくの方が、まあ、肉味噌と炒めるときは潰れにくい。
Yeah, so like if you have you know if you come like into smaller cubes, right? Then you know it's it will be very difficult when to break when mixing with the miso miso paste. So I want to boil them first, right? To kind of bring out the water and then you know out of the tofu. And then so I want to catch these noodles with this net and then kind of yeah kind of makes it easier for me to you know take them out when they're done.
この豆腐は全体は動いてもうダンスしてる感じまでを入れます。
So I want to boil the tofu like until like I see them like kind of start like kind of dancing around, you know, kind of moving around, right?
動いたら動く。 はい、OK です。
Okay, so that's
置いて後で使います。
yeah. So I'm gonna use them later.
はい、先ビャンビャン麺、一番基本のビャンビャン麺を作ります。
So I'm gonna make the very basic biangbiang first.
ちょっと違うんで、醤油とお酢、さっきは下ベースとして先に入れます。
So I'm gonna put the shoyu soy sauce and then the base soy sauce. Like I use like two types of soy sauce, right? You know, heated and then you know fresh, and then another one like vinegar.
理由としては、麺が茹でて、洗って、で、水切って入れるんですけど、たまにはくっつくことあるから、とりあえず入れて、まあ、コーティングの役割でちょっと混ぜていきます。
Yeah. So yeah, the reason for like having the soy like this sauce first, right, on the plate is that like you know I'm gonna wash cook the noodles and wash them, right, and then drain the noodles, But then sometimes like they get stuck together, right? So I want to have this kind of sauce like liquid to kind of prevent noodles from sticking together. So they're kind of coating them with this liquid, and then so that's kind of yeah, that's the kind of role that this sauce would play. So yeah, I think they're done, right? And we'll take them out. And then I'm gonna wash them, and then cool them down, right? And then I'm gonna wash them.
はい、麺を洗います。
Yeah, washing the noodles. So kind of coating the noodles with the sauce, right? Then
で、肉。
minced garlic,
で、
scallions,
唐辛子。
and then this is chili peppers with different chili peppers, like kind of blended together.
で、砂糖少し。
Just a little bit of sugar.
で、最初。
It's like Sichuan pepper.
で、油を。
Then I want to heat up oil.
熱々の状態で上にかけます。
Yeah, so I want to heat it up to the point where it's very hot, right? And then I want to pour it into the Biangbiang noodles, right? To get the aroma out, kind of the ingredients that I added.
で、煙出るぐらいで OK です。
Yeah, so when we see like smoke coming out, and then it's ready.
で、かけるはもう1回じゃなくて、もう
Then
何回何回。
and then we want to pour the oil, right, a couple times, right, at least. And then you see, that there's a smell, like very good smell coming out.
はい、ここ、ラー油は、ね、辛いのが好きやったら、まあ、ラー油も。
So chili oil, if you prefer the spicier version.
はい、これで一番基本のビャンビャン麺の作り方。
Yeah, so that's how you can make the kind of very basic bianbian noodles, right? So yeah, I'm smelling like very good smell of like all these spices, like with the hot oil added to it, and then like very sweet aroma. And then so starting with the mapo tofu,
はい、これ肉味噌です。
and this is a meat, miso paste.
これで事前に材料を作って、まあ、使うとき、使ったらめちゃ便利です。
Yeah, so you can prepare this like in advance, right? And then you can store it on fridge or something, and then you can take it out and then use it when you're making this thing, right? It's very convenient.
の中にさっき茹でたの豆腐を入れます。
Okay, so putting the tofu in there.
この中にお水を入れます。
And then I want to add like a little bit of water to sort of.
まあ、量としては、これちょっと豆腐と超えるぐらいに。
Yeah, the amount is maybe like probably same amount of tofu or like a little bit more.
丸い部分でこしていきます。
Yeah, so I'm just starting it like with the kind of round bottom part of the ladle, right? Like a round part, so that like um, it's we have a less chance of like breaking the tofu.
でなくて、納豆を入れて、種が良くなる。で、ちょっと均一となってから、で、胡椒。
Then adding the black pepper,
で、オイスターソー
oyster sauce,
ス。しびれとしては、この3種、多少は入れてもいいです。
and then huajiao or like shrimp peppers, right? I think then a little bit of salt.
塩は少々入れます。
Yeah, let me take a taste a little bit to see if it's okay.
はい、一回火を消してから、この片栗粉。
And then so after like I just want a ton of heat first, and then add this potato starch liquid
これでとろみが
to
出していく。
kind of make it viscous, right?
一回大量じゃなくて、まあ少量で何回分けて入れます。
And then you want to separate, we want to add it like kind of couple times, right? Just a little bit, a little bit.
また火をつけます。
Then turning on the heat.
で、白ネギを入れます。
And then I want to add this minced leek, the white part.
しっかり火を入れると、この片栗粉ね、長い時間かかって、溶ける感じはします。
Yeah, so we want to add this, like apply like really good heat, right? And then adding like all this potato starch liquid, and then yeah, it's making like more and more viscous, right? So the viscosity would help the sauce, that is maple sauce, to be kind of to coat the noodles well.
はい、これで盛り付けしていきます。
Okay, I want to plate it. So That's a lot of noodles.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's two different types of Japan noodle dishes, right? One is a very basic one, and then another one, like Mr. Sang created using mapo tofu on top. So both of them are very simple, like very good, delicious dishes. We tried them actually this morning, and they're very, very, very good. Then they're simple and they're easy to make, so you can definitely start offering them from at your restaurant, right? So yeah, if you want a recipe and stuff like that, please let us know, and then we're happy to provide you with all these recipes and um, processes. And then, so as I promised, right, I'm gonna show you guys the code, that special code, secret code that you can use to unlock the special offer that we have until the end of this month, right? 29th of this month. So it's FEB like 2024 hyphen like Richmen hyphen now 29. So FEB fair, right? 2024 hyphen Richmen hyphen now 29. So yeah, send us this call, right? If you're interested in like getting a Yamato noodle machine this month, right? And then we have a very special deal going on, and then so please let us know, send us in the comment, or like well, definitely send us an email with this code, right? And then so you can unlock the special offer that you can use to purchase Yamato noodle machines this month. So yeah, that's it. That's what we have for today's workshop. But don't forget to go to our website yamatonoodle.com, right? So we have pages set up for you to sign up for special workshop in Houston, Texas, right? 27, 29, 28, and then another one we have for Amsterdam, right? Show workshop. That's 27th, right? So we only have like very few seats left available, right? So please hurry to go to yamanoodle.com and sign up for seats. And then so next week, right? We're doing yeah, a wonton, like gyoza, and then we're doing a also pasta, fresh pasta. We're gonna make fresh pasta for you. So please go to our website yamanoodle.com, and then find the pages, and then links are there for you to watch the next workshop we're gonna do tomorrow, next week. So that's it. So thank you so much for watching, and then I hope we hope to see you guys back in the next workshop. So thank you so much. Bye bye.